It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. It's out here shining in Nairobi. Karibu sana. This is Morning Cafe. I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyeringite. I hope you're having an amazing day. And away from matters, kama ulikula tear gas, pole sana. Sit down wherever you are because you're about to have a very interesting conversation. You probably know someone who's a single parent, or you're a single parent and you're single. You're a single parent and you're single. And you're wondering, how do I get back in the field and try to get someone new? How do you get that? And our question of the day to you is, as a single parent, should you ask your child who is at that age of also making some decisions as well, and who can also talk, how do you interact with them and ask them, dadi, unadhani ninafaa kuwa na mtu sahihi? Unaona kama nafaa kuwa na mtu mwingine kwa hii nyumba? Should you ask your child for approval before you get into a new relationship? That's our conversation, and that's a question of the day to you. At TV47KE on Facebook, we've posted that question right there, so you can head there and talk to us. On WhatsApp, 0793-267-279. We'll be glad to hear from you. Better yet, call us live. 0795-045-864. Write that number down. You'll also be seeing it on your screen. Save it, and then you call us. When you call us, tell us your name, where you're calling us from. Kindly mute or have your TV off, and then our team will be picking your call. So usingoje mimi ndio nitakuwa na pick. They'll pick it, and then they'll watakuwa natupatia hapa hivi kwa studio. In studio I do have Lydia Ngure. She is a counseling psychologist. She was just telling me her age before we got to the end. I was amazed. She is a former high school teacher. She's been in the teaching industry for about 38 years, she tells me, and she's probably taught you out here. She's interacted with children who have been raised by single parents, so she definitely understands the dynamics of this conversation. And karibu sana by the way to Morning Cafe, having you here for the first time, and someone who's not a new face to this panel, Richard Ziwa Zimbalist. Karibu sana. He's a counselor.
It's a joy to be here.
Oh yes.
Always to share some insights and wisdom.
Most definitely. And even as you also do a further introduction, she brought books, so she'll also be telling us more about that. Every single Wednesday before you start, we always have an African proverb. And today is all the way in BAMBA. Sijui kama mnajua BAMBA is, but then this proverb says, a child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulder. Yeah. A child is like an axe. Even if it hurts you, you still carry it on your shoulder. Yeah. Ramguri, what do you understand by this proverb?
Maybe I can add another one.
Yes, please.
Which means the same, but now that in my mother tongue.
Oh, okay.
Which says that we don't have a dustbin for a child. So even if they do what, you have not that dustbin for them. Okay. So you cannot throw away a child. So this child has hurt you, but where do you take them? There is no dustbin. So that proverb is telling us we need to be very careful as we are bringing up children, because we are going to be parents forever. So even if they hurt us, we are not taking them anywhere. Right. Yes.
And Zimba, this proverb, even as I was really picking it, it really ties to our conversation today, because at the end of the day, this child, in whatever you do when you're getting into a relationship, you'll always be interacting with this child. This child will always have to see this new person. So the child is the main factor in this. What do you understand from this proverb?
I think being a parent, and I've carried my children on my shoulders, and so has my wife, who shares this name with my panel.
Yes, yes, by the way.
I think carrying a child, it's one thing for one parent to carry a child, it's another for the other parent to help to support the head of the child on the same shoulder. So if it's an axe, I would assume it's not a blunt axe, it's a sharp axe. It requires a lot of wisdom on how to navigate and how you carry that weapon, that tool of use, because it will affect many people, many lives along the way.
And we'll be tackling the dynamics of both. As a single parent, you want to get out here and start a new relationship, and then vice versa as well. As someone who doesn't have children, how do you approach and maybe start a new relationship with someone who is a single parent? Madam Greer, I'll start with you. As a counseling psychologist, you've definitely interacted with even single parents, some telling you they want to get back into the space. In our generation, we tunasema unarudi soko. Hiyo ndio lugha sisi tunatumia. So ukitaka kurudi soko as a single parent, and it could also because a number of people even really watching us wako ile age bracket ya ndio wanajaribu kutafuta mtu ama wametafuta mtu, because I mean they're still young, Gen Zs and millennials. So just even for them, what are the dynamics around this? What do you hear when you interact with them?
Thank you so much for that question, because I deal with children, especially adolescent and young adults. Those are my clients. And many times I hear this story. My mom wants to get married and I'm not going to allow it.
Wow. How old is this child?
It doesn't matter, even if they are 15 years. But this depends so much on why the mother became single. Why are they in a single parent family? And in most cases, those children who are so bitter they do not want their mother or their father to get married is because of what they experienced in the other marriage. Maybe there was a lot of violence in that marriage, there was a lot of quarrels, they were traumatized in the other relationship. So their mom getting married now, it is, and especially mom getting married, and especially with the boys, it's like, it's not going to happen. So most of them will come and say, my problem is my mom wants to get married and I'm not going to allow it. Or my mom got married and I'm not living with this. I want that man to disappear. I don't want to see that man. Because they are still hurting from the other relationship. The other issue is the single mother lived with the children over some time after they separated, whoever is the father of these children, then got married again, and then violence started in that home. So they do not want a repeat of the same. But after all is said and done, the mother must go on with her life, or the father must go on with their life. So we prepare children to accept the reality that I'm not the one who is getting married. It is my mother who is getting married. And she has decided. But I also tell the single parents, before they get married or before they let them involve their children from the beginning. Let them be part and parcel of the whole relationship so that they understand what is going to happen and they express their fears, that you can deal with their fears before before it happens. Yes. And
I mean, still the same. So, because it seems as if the single mom is her getting back at a Kosoko might really be a bit difficult. It's not a level playing field for a single dad getting back as well as a single mom. Why is that, Richard?
Thank you, Stanley. One, I want to quote what is popular with the Generation Z, as they say, soko ni chafu. So I think what you, the way you script yourself in the quest to get into relationship, it's important. One, it's better to first define what is single parenting. It's anyone who's raising children below the ages of 18, let's say, to that extent, you're a single parent. You could be divorced, separated, or you got a child as a teenager, as a young adult, or it could be that you just chose to be alone and got involved into a relationship and opted to be single. So it's a very interesting experience when you get to a particular age quadrant and you say, now I feel a need to find a significant other to chart a new course while taking cognizance of the fact that you have a child or children you've been raising alone by yourself. It's true, the scales are not balancing because men were the ones who go to the quest to look for a spouse, as opposed to the women. They have to wait on to someone to initiate an opportunity to get involved into a relationship. So there would be an imbalance based on the predisposition that we have the privy to pursue and overtake and recover all. So if there's an opportunity to go out there looking out for someone to be genuinely involved in a relationship, you have a lot more opportunity for a man to make a decision which is not prejudice as it would be for a woman, because a man, when he's set to get married, the community always rallies behind him. But if it's a woman, it will be quite the contrary.
So that means, Madam Guru, there are societal even expectations. Also depending on the age of this mom. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the societal expectation. When a man, for example, let's say it is death or it's divorce, and the man loses the wife for whatever reason, the whole society expects him to get married. That's right. And get another wife. The whole society. That's what they expect. That is traditional, especially in Africa. Unawezaje mkaa bila bibi na wewe ni mwanaume. So the people expect that. And therefore, even for the children, it's not an issue that our dad is getting married. It's not an issue. But wait for a woman to decide the same. It's like, and especially after the death of a husband, it's like everybody is against her. Yeah. Why? Why can't you do it? Why can't you live alone? So that the society has a lot of issues on that. Then there's also an aspect of whether you have boys or girls. If it's a lady and she's bringing up boys, they raise a finger when the lady is saying she's getting married. Leave alone getting married, even dating.
Because they still want to be the man of the house?
One, you might have made them the men in the house, especially the firstborn. Immediately a lady becomes single, the firstborn, if it's a boy, takes over as if he's the man, in the sense that he's consulted by the mother in very many ways. So this is not right for anybody else coming in. But there's also that attachment between boys and their mother, which is very psychological. So the boys feel my mother should not be mishandled by anyone. So let her remain the way she is. So they put a fight. That's the work that I do now. Because they put a fight and they say, no, she cannot get married. And most of them will get into rebellion in high school and university because their mother is dating. They have realized their mother is dating. The mother is not saying anything, but their mother is dating. And they are expecting this man is going to be, or there's a man who is coming into the house. They will start rebellion. You know, children will go into misbehavior to explain what is happening. So when they come in for counseling, you are looking for where is the misbehavior coming from, and the child will tell you, there's a man who has been coming to our house and I think he is getting married to mom and I'm not going to allow it. So
on that bait, I think, because now that's a question of the day, do you think a single parent should seek the approval of the child before they get into a relationship? And even before you continue, you can skim through a couple of comments here. Omosacha Tony says, nope. He has quite a very lengthy comment. I love that. I'll read through it. Nope, as much as a child is going to be involved in that relationship, it's entirely the choice of a parent to get what they want and what favors their future. For instance, the child might be loved by a parent's partner. The child will want their parent to end up with such partners, but reality is the same partner might not be anything their parents want. In a nutshell, a single parent has many worries to do with the future of their kids than to do with the relationships. And there are so many other people talking about this, others pro, others against this. You mentioned something when you say they think that mom is going to, now for this case, is going to get married. So that means, Ziwa, that mom did not tell the son that this is the new person that I'm going to be with. So again, should, now for the single mom, should she have sat down with the son and told him, you're going to be seeing someone here. Do you, first of all, should she even ask for approval? And if so, how should it even go about?
I think there's been a huge cultural shift in our generation. And I'm talking of the millennials, I'm talking of the Generation Z and the alphas that are coming up. In the past, where I come from, an attempt to speak back to authority is always deemed as rebellion and disrespect and dishonor of the authority within the house, which is your parent. So in this text, if the child has to be the one to be consulted about the relationship, that is something unheard of in the past. But I think with the new way of doing things, people have been informed and educated and enlightened enough to know what works, what does not work, based on research. Yeah. I conferred with a couple of people who are really navigating this journey together as single parents, that I've observed one of the things they constantly scripted alongside their responses is that I think it's important to be in conversation and dialogue with your child. It's critical if you're going to bring someone into your life, not only into your house, because the disparities are there. You might find that a woman, which is the case today, that women have been tremendously successful and working on themselves and fostering and nurturing their families and in their single life, they've been shouldering the burden by themselves. So it becomes increasingly hard when they've hit a particular level of success, and now they feel, I need to have someone to carry this burden alongside with me. It would be totally injurious if you do not take time to talk to your child and say, hey, I've been seeing someone, and mom needs support. And if it's the same true with the father, of course men would not confer, because what women do by talking about it, we do without talking about it. We just show up with a woman in the house, it is what it is, and everyone say, Buddha meshamwa. But the reality is, it is only helpful because you're going to live this life together, not only with that individual, but also with your children. It's good to keep them in the know of what is ongoing. And I would recommend counseling and therapy for that matter, because you might not know how to navigate that path. You might lose your own children in the quest for a relationship. And I think you should be able to place a premium on your children since you've been with them. As much as you want to introduce a new subject of a person of interest, get to be in a place where you're in conversation with each other, communicate.
And now that bit, Madam Guri, on communication, because you've told us that right now that's what you do. The parent as well as the child. Yeah. So in most circumstances, what happens? Is it the parent did not inform the child prior to this new relationship beginning, and now they're actually having that conversation with you, present? How do those dynamics play? And will it have cured all these wrangles between the parent and the child if the parent had just sat down with the child and told him, kababa, kuna mtu utakuwa unaona huku, do you approve? Will it have cured all those wrangles? Okay,
let me start from what I do as I'm working, because most of the clients that are brought to me, or they are referred to me, they come because there is an issue. And the issue, in most cases, inakuanga sign of rebellion. There is some rebellion somewhere. There is something that a child is doing that is not the right thing. And that's how they are brought in for counseling. Because most of them are referral from schools and referral from universities. And when they come, is now we are looking at where is the rebellion coming from? What is the root cause? And then you find it's the relationship between me and mom, or between me and dad. And what has happened? And then they will say, this is what is happening. There is a guy who is coming to our house and I'm not happy. So they are reacting towards that. There is a lady who is coming to our house and now nakama ataorewa. So it starts from there. Or there is, my mom is saying she is saying she's going to get married. Unajua unaongea tu na mimi nitaolewa. My mom is saying she's going to get married. And I'm not happy about that. Or there is a guy who is coming to our house, and I think he's interested in my mom's money. Yes. So children from 15 years, they know, they can see. So they are reacting in school, they are not performing, they are taking alcohol and all that. So they are being sent for counseling because of what they are doing. So now I come to discover when they are there, this is where the problem is. So the mom now did not communicate. Boys, especially boys, really get affected when they see a man.
How is the dynamics for the girls now? Maybe the ones that you've seen. Them being told by their fathers that you're going to see a new female person around here. What do you think about it? How do girls take it?
When it is a dad who is getting married, for girls, they don't have an issue because they have their dad. Najua msichana, mimi niko na baba yangu. So this other one is like, she doesn't matter. The only issue inakuanga when she comes in and now the girl is being separated from the dad. Because now it becomes an issue now. When now she comes in, and that's what I deal with. She has come in now, and now the girl feels there is somebody who has come in between them.
In this space.
So she reacts. But for boys, there are very few that will say, yes, I want this. But if this lady walks a journey with the children right from the beginning and keeps talking about it, those children are prepared in advance that this is going to happen. So they are introducing their friend to the children and they walk a journey. Now, and then, like he has talked about going for therapy. It's very, very, very important.
Right.
Both of them, the single parent and the children, all of them, they go for therapy so that everybody is expressing their fears because those children are rejecting this man or whoever it is because of what they have gone through or the traumas that they have gone through. So when they are taken through counseling, and then they also need to understand, he also has his life, she has her life. So finally they understand one another. So therapy is very, very, very important.
Right.
Yes.
Two interesting comments here on Facebook. First of all, Mikhail Nyingi says they may not need approval per se, but they should be observing or listening to the kids' relationship with the partner. Then Charles Posira anasema, back to maandamano, it is not fair to continue marrying. Anyway, to Nyingi's comment, they may not need approval per se, but that they should be observing or listening to the kids' relationship with the partner. And so far, even what Ramguri is telling us, really the person to even look at here is the boy child, between the relationship with the boy child na mamake. And now there's someone else who's coming. And hypothetically, this is a child who's getting into the teenage years, maybe they're finishing primary school or getting into high school. They're probably used to many years of, it's just me and mom. And then someone new is coming, on board. First of all, as she says, the whole balancing act, even now for the single mom here, how does she balance this, my child's needs and the attention, as well as now someone new? Because at the end of the day, as you're saying, a human being has needs.
Stanley, sometimes this gig of single parents getting into back to the circle might not be working out to some people, but there are certain things that should be a constant. We all marry for companionship. That is the constant. I don't care who you are, down the line, you will need someone to journey with and to shoulder the burden of raising a family together with. And that is an exclusive selfish interest of anyone who seeks to get married. You will marry for selfish reasons. And that way, if a man is going to get married, men were very funny. We're even jealous of our own children. I'm married, but I know when my son is always cozy with I get jealous about it. And this is my own son. Just put yourself in the picture of this young man. And someone is pulling a move on his mother. I've just had an interesting experience a short while ago. A friend of mine, I'll speak about him in anonymity, has been married for less than 3 years, but he found that this lady had a son, a young adult, when he married the mother. Apparently, unfortunately, the mother has passed away. May her soul rest in peace. But as soon as the mother passed away, we had hardly come from the burial. Upon arrival, they had already gone ahead to get the man out of the house. This gentleman is Canadian. They're throwing him out of the house. One of the relatives, who has not been in the picture before, claims the ownership of the son. Then shows up with the house, brandishing a gun on the head of the man and telling him, hey, ujue, mimi ni baba ya huyu. Kijana, alimwambia, toka kwa nyumba yangu, kila kitu is mine. Now, there's some perceived fears every time people get into a relationship. Genuinely so. A son is afraid you're coming to my mother because of what she has been able to accumulate over time. It's not necessarily about relationship here. There are certain things that should be taken note of. She has a car, you found it with us. She has a land title, you found it with us. She has built a house without you. So what brings you to this relationship? Now she's there, out. So I think for a boy child, one, I would still recommend that therapy and counseling is critical for both the interested parties and let them be involved in the decision, because it has ramifications in the event there are certain things that happen. So protect and preserve the sanctity of the union you're getting into by seeking help, professional help, and counseling. Premarital counseling would be very critical for you, not just jump into the opportunity, because you'll be like a guided missile. You know how to land with impact. For the gentleman saying back to maandamano, even after eating tear gas, throwing stones, you need to fall back position someone to console and comfort you. So a young man, while you're throwing stones, open your eyes and see who is there, who is single in the maandamano, and seize the moment.
Why are we marrying? But anyway, because so far we've really focused on what the child is saying and the communication between this child. But then at the end of the day, this woman, or even the father, the single now father, definitely has needs, as you're saying, just someone there to be with, and and all that. Hypothetically, now let's say for a single mom, for example, hypothetically the son has given a green light. I say, okay, fine, mom, as long as you're happy. So for this single mom, how does she approach getting back into the market, kurudi kwa soko, because before that she had taken a long while, let's say 10-15 years thereabout, just taking care of this child, of this son, and then now she is getting back into the market. Dynamics have changed even for her. Whatever she knew before she was in a relationship, right now when she's getting in, things have changed. Soko nayo imebadilika kidogo. Pale alikuwa napata avocado, sasa ni machungwa nini, imebadilika hapa na pale. How does this woman get into back to the scene?
There is one thing that I would like to talk about, which I've found is a major issue with the single parents. Or being single. The most important thing for this person, maybe it's already, is why did I become single? That one has to be dealt with first before you deal with what. Because there are quite a number of them that feel rejected. I was rejected. Maybe during my teen years I got a baby and I was rejected. So do you still have that? Because if you still have that in your mind, the new relationship is not going to work. So you have to work on yourself with what happened that made me single. Others is because there was divorce. Have I dealt with that? Because if I have not dealt with that, again, it's another issue if I have not dealt with that. Others is because of death. Have I been able to deal with that trauma of death? Because getting married again, it's not going to help. So I have to deal with whatever I'm going through psychologically. My emotions, I have to deal with them first. I become free, and that's where psychotherapy is coming in. That's how counseling comes in. So this is ready for whatever is going to happen. To go back to Asoko, I'm ready now because I've dealt with all my fears, I have dealt with all my rejection, I have dealt with all my trauma, I've dealt with grieving because it's my husband who died. And you take time because, for example, the death of a husband, and then within a few, not even 1 year, within a few months, you are getting married again. You are making a very great mistake. Because the other relationship is not going to work. Because have I healed in the first place? And most people will say, I have already healed. So if you go for counseling, you'll be helped to go through whatever you are going through, and then you'll be able now to look for the new partner. And of course, depending on who you are, what age are you going for? Because now that has become also another issue. Because I'm dealing with men that are getting married because their wife has died. They have taken some time, yes, but they are going for a very young lady. So you are 70, you still need companion. It's okay. Even the Bible allows you to get married. But how do you get married to a 30-year-old girl?
Dealing with diapers.
You start diapers. Leave alone diapers. In fact, I dealt with one. He was 70, the lady was 45. So 45 years of age, 70 years of age, it's not an issue. And what he was used to was sitting down with the mama so-and-so, and they talk in the evening. Now this other one has come, she has come from work, she wants to continue on her laptop doing work. If not that, she's on Facebook, she's on what. You want attention. She's not interested. This is her now. You see, the age gap is too, it's too wide. So you also create yourself a problem. Or you get another one who is going to get children, and your children are already big. You go back to diapers. Once you rely on a nappy.
And then dynamics have changed.
No, you are going to diapers.
Right.
It becomes an issue.
It's 1:30. It is a perfect time to call in live and tell us your thoughts, your experiences, if you're a single parent, and what you probably have witnessed out here. Ama useme tu, I am asking for a friend, hiyo tutakubali pia, but then we definitely love to hear your voice, wherever you're calling us from. 0795 045 864 is the number to call us live. When you call us, tell us your name, where you're calling us from, and then have your TV mute or off so that we have a very seamless conversation. Tupigie simu bana, usiogope. Allow me to take a couple of comments here so that pia nipate your thoughts on the same. First off, Hari Ekiru Ikaru anasema Gen-Z ni watoto wa single mothers. That is the message. Curious for your thoughts on that. Hilary Twet, yes, otherwise kutakuwa na maandamano katika hiyo familia. Mzee Kijiji, he brings in a very controversial feedback. He says, I really hate women who enter marriage with kids, they side with other men. It's really unfair to the kid. Baby daddy and baby mama should reconcile and settle down as a couple for the sake of well-being of the kid. Gen mixing should not happen in any family. Gen mixing is only for animals. I think that is what you were talking about. Different generations as well. Let me see. Ingine hapa. Yes, Edwin Kiprop, engaging in new relationships while having grown-up children is so embarrassing. That is what he is saying. We do have Faith. Habari asubuhi, Faith. Good morning, Faith. Nick, unaweza nisaidia na sauti hapa studio.
Hello.
Hello, Faith. I hope umezima TV. Punguza sauti ya TV tafadhali, Faith.
Good morning too.
Good morning. Umepunguza sauti ya TV?
Yeah, nimepunguza.
Yes, unatupigia simu ukiwa wapi?
Eldoret.
Eldoret.
Yes.
Habari ya watu Eldoret?
Sana.
Uko na maswali au maoni hii conversation yetu ya
ni swali.
Yes, uliza.
So I was asking if kama for example ulipata ball na mtu. Yes.
Kama umepata ball na mtu
Alafu sasa amekuacha, alafu wewe umepeleka mtoi shule, umemsomesha. Na sasa uko na pesa yako mwenyewe. Alafu you want to get married. What will you do?
Ndio nielewe swali yako. Umepata mimba na mtu alafu ukasomesha huyo mtoto, ama alafu later on unataka kumsomesha.
Then the father wants to come back to you because of the money. Na wewe umtaki, you want to get married to another person.
Okay. Naona sawa. Naona Madam Nguri anashake kichwa, na maanisha ameelewa swali yako. Sawa. Wacha utakuwa unapata jibu sahihi to Faith. Asante sana for calling us this morning. 0795045864 is the number to call us live. Usiogope by the way kutuuliza hizo maswali zote uko nazo concerning hii conversation na pia maoni. Yes.
She's saying you get a baby with someone, you bring up the baby, and then later on the father of the baby wants to come back to you because of this baby, but you don't want him. And
it's definitely another dynamic of this as a single parent.
Of course, and maybe the child wants the father. Actually, that's another issue. Because that's what I get in counseling. Children who wants their father back home, because they never knew them when they were growing up, but they reached a point where they came to know them. And they got a relationship, and they would prefer, and the father now gets interested in getting back to the mother, but the mother is adamant no, because they are still hurting, of course. So the child would like the father to be part of this family. The father wants to be part of this family, but the mother says no. So that child gets disturbed, and it's like, mama yangu anakataa kwa nini? So, but you cannot force yourself into somebody. So this guy, you cannot force yourself in somebody. She doesn't want you.
How do you tell your son, your daughter that, yes, we had something with this person, your father, either your mother, but then things happened, but yes, hata acha kukua baba yako mama yako, but then we can't be together. How do you communicate that to you?
And that brings another issue, because that's what I'm dealing with speaking the truth.
Speaking the truth.
Yes, because why most of the children are rebelling in single parenthood is because they have never been told the truth. Because when a child is growing up and there is no dad, we imagine he's not thinking and he's not questioning. So unaona mtoto mdogo ana shida kuuliza, kwa nini sisi hatuna dad? Anaambiwa wewe nyamaza. Kwa nini nikisikia hiyo swali tena utaniambia? Akikuwa kidogo anaambiwa aligongwa na tiga. So we are not telling this child the truth. So they go seeking for that truth, and they will get it from their grandmother, from their auntie, from the village, from somebody.
Sayeta kwanza ni social media. Naingia, atafuta jina yenye inafanana na yake. Those friends anatafuta.
But you see, you never spoke the truth. So why not give your story? Because every human being has a story behind them. And all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So why not give your story to this child? By the way, I do that work. I give your story to your child because you are unable to give it. So you give me the story, then I give to your child. And in most cases, the child is like, ageniambia tu, nigemuelewa. Nigemuelewa. So tell this child, why can't you get married to this man? Because there is a reason. Give the reason. This is exactly what happened. I dealt with the story of a child who was rejected by the dad in the womb. And the mother got depressed. And when she gave birth, she got depressed. Kabisa. So she never took care of the child.
So at what age will you expect a child to even understand? Because, I mean, as you're saying, mtoto vile anasema, ningemwelewa, but then a single parent is wondering, mtoto anafaa kue, at what age do you even start unpacking some things to this child?
Are they asking a question? That is where you start.
At that time?
They're asking a question. Kwa nini sisi hatuna dad? give the information, the little they can understand. Children are given information according to their age. So utaenda ukiongezea slowly by slowly. Just give what they can understand.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Tuchukue simu ya Philip kutoka Lang'ata. Philip, habari asubuhi. Oh, Namanga, my apologies. Philip, habari asubuhi. Philip, kama unanipata, I hope umezima TV. Habari asubuhi.
Nzuri sana.
Yes, watu wa Namanga mnaendeleaje?
Yeah, mimi natoka Namanga. Na pia nina maoni kiasi.
Yes, unaweza paza sauti kidogo?
Yes, nimezima.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, nakusikia.
Yeah, nimezima. Kuna maoni pia ningechangia. Jambo la kwanza ni pia naweza sema ni upande wa wazazi.
Unaweza paza sauti kidogo ndio pia wageni wakusikie
katika mwelekeo. Kwa sababu ya kutokuambia watoto ukweli. Kwa mfano mimi nilikuwa mzazi na niliwajua mtoto miezi 3.
Yes.
Yes, nadhani unanipata?
Nakupata, endelea.
Sawa, mimi ni mzazi. Niliwachia mtoto miezi 3. Na baada ya kuachia mtoto miezi 3 nimelea mpaka kafika grade 6.
Okay.
Na kufika grade 6, huyo mtoto anahitaji kujua mamake yuko wapi. Na kutoka hapo nikamwelezea ukweli.
Okay.
Na sasa kutoka hapo mtoto akajua ukweli. Na cha kushangaza kuambia mtoto ukweli, mtoto anataka kujua wazazi wako wapi. Ni vizuri kuunganisha watoto na mzazi, ajue mzazi wake yuko wapi na mzazi wake anakaa wapi.
Ukweli. Na labda
wazazi wa siku hizi ni moja.
Okay.
Wanataka kuficha ukweli, waegemea upande wa uongo.
Ukweli.
Kwa mfano kama huyu mtoto ningemwambia mzazi wake ameaga ama mzazi wake amefanya nini. Kuangalia maisha mtoto kesho itakuwa wapi.
Ukweli.
Na huyu mtoto ataelekea wapi. Na baada hapo akiwa atakuwa mtu aina gani. Ukificha mtoto ukweli saa hizi, kufikia miaka kadhaa hii maisha ya kizazi cha hiki atakugeuka. Utajikuta wewe mzazi ama wewe mama, mtoto amekugeuka kwa nyumba kwa sababu ya uongo. Kwa hivyo uaminifu kati yako wewe na mzazi itakuwa ngumu.
Ukweli.
Hata usomeshe mtoto afike wapi itakuwa ngumu kukuamini kwa sababu ulianza kumdanganya akiwa mtoto. Au kumwambia ukweli. Ile siku utaanza kunena ukweli kama mzazi, itakuwa ngumu wewe mzazi mtoto kukuelewa.
Alright.
Na hata umfanyie nini atajua unamfanyia ili kumdanganya. Sio kwamba unamjali. Unamdanganya ili asijue ukweli wako. Kwa hivyo chochote kile utakuwa unafanyia mtoto katika kimaisha, atajua unamfanyia ili kumfumba macho. Ile siku atakuja kujua itakuwa ngumu. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri kwanza hasa wazazi ambao ni single parents, ni vyema kuwa open kwa watoto, open kwa kila kitu. Na hasa ukienda hata kama kanisa ama kidini ama watu wazee, ni vigumu kuambia mtu ukweli. Anakupeleka hivi. Ambia mtoto ukweli. Kama mlikosana, mwambie tulikosana kwa sababu ya hili na hili. Hatuwezi rudiana na baba yako ama na mama yako.
Okay.
Kwa hivyo ni vyema tuweke ukweli. Ni hayo tu.
Sawa. Asante sana Philip kutoka Namanga. Asante sana for calling us this morning. Richard, even as you also kuchangia what Philip anaongelea maneno ya honesty between you and the child. You're just opening up to the grade 6 child. There's also the factor even now because I mean if it's a single parent, maybe the other parent is also, let's say, alive. So I mean there are such factors as well. Do you also have approval of this other person, because this other person is also in touch with their child? If it's a single mom, then should the single mom ask now the biological father that ujue kutakuwa na mtu mwenye atakuwa around our son? Should such conversations also happen?
Thank you, Stanley. I want to appreciate the caller from Namanga, his authenticity. I think he spoke with clarity about the subject we're addressing. In my counseling experiences, as I've seen this to be true, there's a need for anyone who seeks to be into a relationship to be single, whole, complete, and lacking nothing. And that way, you will know how to navigate the journey because you come from a place of wholeness in this relationship that you're going to bring to yourself. It's critical that you tell the child the truth, but the truth in installment.
Yes.
I am that child. My mother acknowledged the need to move on with someone else, but she had had me with my dad. She gathered the courage to ask my dad, would you care to take on this son?
Could I interrupt you briefly as we pick this call kutoka Trans Nzoia. Naomi, habari asubuhi, watu wa Cherangany mnaendeleaje?
Yes.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling us this morning. Habari ya Cherangany?
Mimi ni single mom. Na ninalea mtoto wangu. Sasa mimi sijaielewa huenda tuseme umekuwa in a relation, umepata hiyo bond na mtu amekuruka ama alipass na wewe umelea mtoto wako. So umelea mtoto maybe amefika almost 12 years without the fatherly love. But unakuta kuna mtu mwenye maybe anataka kuingia kwa maisha yako, yes. But ukiimagine situation ya nowadays, unakuta mtu mwenye amekuoa si baba ya mtoto, biological father, na wewe uko na mtoto msichana. Maybe ukiimagine anaweza rudia mtoto wako, inafanya unakuwa heartbroken. So unakuta huku nje single mothers ni wengi, ukifuatilia story zao kuna wengi wanaogopa kuingia marriage. Ama kama baba ya mtoto ako but ako mbali, anaogopa hata kuintroduce hiyo mtoto kwa hiyo baba kwa sababu story za baba kurudia mwanae kwa mengi.
Okay.
Alafu swali mimi ningependa kuuliza, hivi.
Okay.
Iwapo umepewa hiyo ball, umelea mtoto amefika 1 year. Na baba ya mtoto alikuwa amekutoka. Na wakati amerudi na pressure mingi ya kwamba mnaweza tapelekana kusini, mnaweza anataka responsibility ya mtoto. Na huyu mtu hajielewi. Je, hapo ni sawa uweze kumpatia mtoto? Sababu siku hizi najua court pia hatuna imani sana na court. Sasa ni vyema umpatie mtoto ama yeye tu akanyage kubwa? Asante.
Right. Asante sana Naomi for calling us. This morning Naomi had a comment as well as a question. Did you get the question, Richard?
Yes, partly I did.
Okay.
I think what is standing out, just like what she had already made mention of, women have emotional needs too, and that cannot be ignored. But with every responsibility comes a certain measure of accountability. If you have a child involved in any relationship at whatever stage that you're at, there's a sense of accountability that you owe to people who are partisan in that relationship. If you're co-parenting with someone else, that is the father for the child, the responsibility to navigate a new journey for your life is not exclusive of him, because you have a child that is going to be constantly bringing you together, and that is a potential place of conflict if it's not resolved. So if you seek help, and I think we should continue to normalize seeking counseling for that particular experiences, because failure too, you will have a way you self-sabotage your relationship, that potential relationship that you are to engage into. I was giving a case in point with my mom and dad. She took note that she wants to continue with her life, and as much as they had something with my dad, it was not working out. And she opted to give me to my dad to be raised by my dad. And my dad did an incredible job. But one thing, I got to a particular place, I began to ask for my mother, because my mother now wanted to respect the relationship, but I desired to have my mother connected to my life, which was not forthcoming for a greater period of my learning experience until about I was 14. I had to sit down and ask my dad, who is this woman who calls herself my mom? Please take me to her. I wrote him a letter. Then he said, oh, you do want to see your mom? I said, yes. So I left school. I was at Aga Khan High School. I left and we went to look up for my mom. When I met her, she asked me, hi. I'm like, hi. Then my dad is like, do you know her? I'm like, I don't know who she is. Who is she? Like, that's your mother. I'm like, oh, you're my mother. Now, I don't have an emotional connectedness to my mother. And those are some of the things that people are struggling with in this potential relationship. Will I lose the connectedness with my child? Will I lose that healthy, vibrant relationship I had with my baby in the quest for this new relationship? Right. So I think when a woman makes a decision to have a child early in life, yes, you got pregnant. Thank God for that. There are people who do not. There are people who desire what you've got. Don't curse that experience. Every good and perfect gift, I believe, comes from God above. So the best you can do is work through your own experience. If you desire to get married again, that's a good desire. But find a way you bring people to help you. You don't raise children exclusive of community. There are social support that you can receive from family and friends to help you through that. If you belong to a group of people that genuinely care for you, they will help you to navigate that journey. Right. But don't delay the decision to get married if you desire it. Right. It is the right thing to do.
Right. My production team has been gracious enough to kunipatia 5 more minutes. So in this 5 minutes, for both of you, I'd love parting shots, because mostly we haven't really even given tumepatia advice here, even for the single moms, even for the children as well. But then for someone who is seeking now to get into this relationship with a single parent, Madam Guru, what advice will you give him or her? Because there are certain aspects and actually unique kind of advice that this person needs to know when they are interacting with a single parent.
One thing, and I think I'm repeating what I had said, have they dealt with the issue behind singlehood?
No, now talk about, wacha nijitumie kama example. Mimi kama Stanley, nimepatana na mtu wenyewe hapa nje, someone's daughter, and she is a single parent. What advice will you give me?
You now who is getting into... okay. No, you are getting into a relationship that already has issues because there's a child involved and there is another father involved because this boy or this girl was given birth to by somebody else. Okay. So are you ready for that? If you're ready for that, then also remember, you can also be rejected by the child. You know, you have no connection with that child. You can be rejected with that child. So are you ready for that? So ask yourself all those questions. Are you ready? Are you ready for that? When you get into this relationship, do you want to get a baby also? Is she ready for that? Because those are the things that now we take before a counselor before we get into the relationship. So my advice would be, first of all, go for therapy before you engage yourself. Yes.
Right. Again, I think just a parting shot and advice to someone listening to you and they're wondering, how do they maneuver all these dynamics?
Be hilariously happy about it. That is my honest response. I think there's such an exciting experience when you see a potential likelihood that you're going to be involved with someone, fall in love with them, work a relationship, and I think take away the stigma, especially if you're a woman. This social stigma associated with women as if they're a social misfit when you have a baby, that you should not be involved in anyone else. Get to deal away with it. Seek all the counseling and therapy you can get. Look out for people who like us who can help you and or connect you to people who can give you the counseling that you need so that you can move on to a next phase in your life. For the children involved, tell the truth, there is always greater help that comes alongside with someone coming to shoulder the burden with the person who is single, with a child, and that one who comes in should know that actually there's a lot to enjoy in this relationship. You're already starting off with a bonus. There's a child involved. That's a blessing. The last one would be If you've been able to accumulate a certain measure of wealth, sign a prenuptial agreement before you get involved into it. Protect yourself and protect your child. That's my take on that one. It helps you.
Just in case. When we started, I had mentioned that Madam Nguri is an author. She had displayed quite a number of books here. So briefly, very, very briefly, just mention to us what you do before you take a look at these comments.
Okay. I wrote these books because of dealing with young adults and adolescents, and I realized most of their issues were coming from the family.
Hold it.
So I decided to give just a few tips to the parents on how to go about it. Powerful parenting, what every parent should know. Wonderful parenting, foundation steps towards a good character. And then the ones in high school, challenging parenting, because this one is very challenging, especially if there were issues. And therefore, that's why I wrote this one. And then I have another one, Warning Norm on Your Road to Maturity. This is for the adolescent themselves.
Right.
Because they are navigating so much. So, and most of them, they are very good as far as technology is concerned. But life skills, I can assure you, with the Gen Zs, life skills, hawana, but technology, they are up the there. Game. And then this finally, one is for teachers and guidance and counseling teachers. Right. Several of us.
Thank you very much. Richard Ziwa, he's a counselor, as well as Madam Lydia Nguri, counseling psychologist, as well as an author. Thank you very much for your wise nuggets. Tukimalizia, Harry Amunga anasema they should seek approval from God. God knows what is right for the child. Ezekiel Mackenzie, na hii economy mwenye anaenda aende, atakayebaki abaki. JCU unit, sijui kama ni the actual JCU unit, sema haina jibu. And finally, Kariuki Njenga, unless the kid also chose who was to be or his her daddy. Thank you very much for sticking around on this conversation. Watu wametuongelesha hapa on Facebook, 2047, or SMS number on WhatsApp.